Thanks for logging on to the Mountain West Digital Network. We're talking New Mexico Lobos basketball with head coach Steve Alford. Coach, your sixth season here at New Mexico. You guys have built the program and reestablished as a perennial NCAA tournament team. You obviously like the direction that you guys have headed?
Yeah, we didn't know how fast it would happen, but we got here 5 years ago. Our first group really bought in, and that's always the key. The players have got to buy in and believe and trust, and that was established in year one, where we won 24 games. And since year one, we've had something to say about the conference title every year, and hopefully that continues. It's never a done deal, but the consistency is a big part of it. Whether you're talking about playing, coaching, your teams, you want consistency, and thus far, through 5 years, we've been very consistent.
And you established that level of expectation with the kids that, you know, we don't settle here. We are a championship caliber team. That goes a long way in getting kids in here and then, you know, making them realize that we strive to be number one.
It was a different climate that we were trying to sell 5 years ago. The climate now, going into year six, is we kind of said, we are New Mexico. We kind of did that saying about 3 years ago, and the guys that are coming in here, whether it's Cleveland Thomas from Louisiana or Nick Banyard from Dallas, Devin Williams from Dallas, these guys understand what we're about from day one, and a lot of that has to do with kind of the climate in the locker room now and the expectations in the locker room of, we've got to play championship caliber basketball, and to do that, you've got to work every day. And so it's been neat to see that happen.
You've also established New Mexico basketball as a national brand, and you're bringing in high caliber recruits. The challenge then becomes, I would imagine, getting these kids who have always been number ones to buy into a team concept. How have you done that?
Well, that's always, I think, a unique dynamic to coaching, because all of us, very few of us are probably out there recruiting the best defender on your high school team as a senior. So they're all scorers, they're all great players, really offensive minded. So then getting here, and maybe your role changes a little bit, especially in your early years. We've always had great success playing freshmen, and then trying to develop those freshmen to where by the time that you get to the conference season, they don't play like freshmen. And I think that's been a big part of our success, is our young guys have developed quickly, and hopefully that happens again this year, because we got a lot of youth on our bench.
Where you guys lost, significant contribution would be in the front court, but your back court comes back with Greenwood and Snell and Kendall Williams. Let's talk about those three individually. Kendall Williams, how has he progressed, and what do you expect from him this year?
Well, I think very underappreciated as a defender. I think he's one of the best defenders out west, if not anywhere in the country. I think he gets the top billing of anybody we play, and then he's going to be probably one of our leading scorers as well. One of the fastest individuals I've ever coached. He's got great speed. He makes up for things that ball bounces the wrong way. He has a way of getting it just because of his speed. And he's really hard to guard because of that. So our backcourt is strong, and Kendall is one of those guys that can raise us to another level.
What about Snell and Greenwood? What are you expecting them from them this year?
Well, Tony had a really good sophomore year. Late in the season, he didn't have the games he was having maybe throughout most of the year, but I think that happens. He went from being a guy that was getting 3 points a game as a freshman to being a double-figure scorer for us last year, and I think that resurgence and that development really helped us, because we ended up bringing Philip McDonald, a 3-year starter, off our bench, and having that kind of weapon off our bench. So, Tony, we just want to continue to develop. He's a marksman and one of the best shooters in the league. He's 6'6", almost 6'7". He can play the point, great passer. He's really worked on his drive game. If his drive game continues to develop, I think you'll see Tony go to the next level. Hugh is our stable force. Hugh is, as I've said in press conferences already, he can beat you by getting 12 rebounds a game out of the point position. He can beat you by getting 12 assists. Then he'll have a night where he'll get 12 points, or he'll shut down your point guard. He just has a way of winning, and to have that as a freshman and now going into his sophomore year, he's got great strength. He's a 210-pound point guard, so that strength really helps stabilize our defense right from the beginning.
Demetrius Walker probably takes on a larger role this year.
There's no question about that, and he started taking that role on last year for us late in the year. We started playing him a lot more because of his production. He's much more healthy. You got to remember, he went through a transfer season from Arizona State, and then he had 2 knee surgeries when he was here. So he's healthy now, and a healthy Demetrius Walker is very dangerous. He's very potent off the dribble. He's really worked on his 3 game. He's shooting the ball very well, and I think can be a very good defender / rebounder, and we're going to need that.
What is it like to coach in the pit? You hear the legends of the pit, and you hear stories about it. What's it like to be on the sidelines, pacing up and down in this place?
Well, it's an honor, first and foremost, and I've learned it to be a great blessing. Coaching's always been a lot of fun. I'm in my 22nd year now. It's hard to believe that I've been doing this gig for 22 years, but to still be in the game that I fell in love with at an early age. My high school gym was a mini version of this. You went down, it was in a bowl, it seats 10,000 people, so this brings me back to my roots, just a bigger place, and going down 37 feet, and then having the fans on top of you and how they come out. Our exhibition season, we had 2 exhibition games and we drew an average of about 12-8. Now, there are a lot of places in the country that are showing up 13,000 strong for exhibition games, and so it's a very special place. It's a great honor and a blessing, and I think that's why we work so hard as a staff to make sure our guys know that you at least got to work hard and you got to play unselfishly. Those are the 2 things that these fans, they deserve to see every night out.
Place will be rocking. You guys open up Monday night, part of the the festival, 24 hours of college basketball against Davidson. I would imagine that there won't be too many seats to be had, even though it's a midnight tip-off.
Yeah, and we've told our fans that because we understand the tip time. That's an unusual tip time, but to be a part of a national deal, and you've mentioned national branding, to be a part of ESPN's National Marathon Classic, we'll take whatever time slot we could get. And so we've asked our fans, if you can't come, give the tickets away, and I know they'll do that. And
last question, how do you get your guys ready for a midnight tip-off? Because I'm sure there's some things you do differently in practice to make sure that they're at their best at midnight.
Yeah, the week going in, and it's unusual for us because we haven't, as coaches, I haven't played at midnight either. We used to do the old Midnight Madness years ago, but you don't really plan for that. It's just the opening, the tip-off of a season. This is a little different. This is actually a regular season game, so we'll practice during that week 8 to 10. We can't really go much later by rule. We can't keep them after midnight, and we got to think about sleep because they got classes the next day, but we will push practices. Normally we go at 3 o'clock. Now this week we'll practice 8 to 10.
Coach Alford, appreciate the time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for logging on to the Mountain West Digital Network.